Hi everyone, Matt from Moffat Library here to introduce you to our fall film series Around the World in Several Screens. As you know, I'm a librarian here. I deal a lot with local history materials and of course on a day-to-day basis help you find the books and movies that you like. You might not know though that I am a huge horror movie buff, and this film series itself is going to be a little subjective. They are movies that I personally have seen that I thought were really interesting and groundbreaking and unique, but you might not, it might not be everybody's cup of tea. That being said, I hope that a few of these movies will inspire you to kind of explore this genre a little bit more. Because indeed, horror is a very old genre. Because as long as we've been telling stories, even around the campfire, there have always been fables or stories that were meant to scare or frighten the audience. And it's no accident that a lot of the films that we are showing in this series have some basis in literature from the 18th and 19th century, and maybe in some cases earlier. Take, for example, this week's film, Häxan, Witchcraft Through the Ages, from 1922. Now, horror movies have been around since the dawn of the 20th century. Indeed, the earliest films were one of the earliest films was an adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, produced by the Selig Polyscope Company in 1908. These early films were based on popular works of fiction, as I've mentioned before, and we see this most overtly in F.W. Murnau's 1922 film Nosferatu, which resulted in a hefty lawsuit from Florence Stoker, the widow of Dracula author Bram Stoker, for copyright infringement. Other films, such as Robert Wines' 1919 feature, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, drew influence from expressionist art and post-war anxiety that gripped Europe throughout following World War I. Part documentary and part horror film, Häxan is a 1922 Swedish film directed by Danish filmmaker Benjamin Christiansen. Like Nosferatu, the film was inspired by earlier works of literature. Christiansen's interest in the history of witchcraft, specifically with the Malleus Maleficarum, a 15th century guidebook on identifying witches and conducting witch trials, along with other contemporary works, formed the basis of this film. The original playbill even contained a bibliography, something you don't see in many modern movies, if at all. Filming ran from February to October 1921, with most of it being shot at night or on a closed set to add to the eerie ambiance. This, along with meticulous post-production work, would result in the final product costing between 1.5 and 2 million krona, making it the most expensive silent film in Sweden's history. The film is separated into 4 parts that illustrate medieval superstitions surrounding witchcraft and demonic possession, and how modern, as of 1922 science, helps explain how medical ailments were misconstrued as witchcraft. Each part begins with a period illustration that makes the viewer feel as they are attending a college lecture. But as the live-action scenes unfold, we are quickly transported back in time to view innocent villagers being tempted by Satan, played by the director himself, a witch trial, and a Sabbath complete with dancing demons and witches flying on broomsticks. The film caused quite a stir when it was released. Several countries edited the film, and it was even banned in the United States for scenes of nudity, torture, and sexual perversion. This was a very ahead of its time film, to say the least. That said, the film was groundbreaking in its use of light, special effects, and costuming. Although the images presented in it can be shocking, even by today's standards, one cannot help but feel as though they are traveling through a fantastical world of magic and superstition when viewing it. Here now is Häxan, complete with its original score and digitally remastered for a new millennia.